Chargement du jeu, parce que c'est très bien traduit en français. Et donc du coup on s'est arrêté au jour 1. Parce que le jeu est découpé en jours. Et ça tombait bien. On avait fini le jour 1. Alors... voilà.
Gabriel is carrying a lump of clay from the banks of Lake Pontchartrain.
Ah, The Strain, j'ai pas vu. Tu vois, j'ai dû voir que 2 épisodes. Alors que je drop des images en masse. Bon, ça va le faire. Oui, donc voilà. Souvenez-vous.
The partial pattern from the crime scene intrigues Gabriel. What does it mean?
Ah, est-ce que Grace a fait les recherches qu'on lui a demandé?
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Ah bah non, moi je sais pas.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Doing a family tree, Gabriel?
Very funny. I mean real snakes, you know, scaly, cold-blooded. I would have thought you'd find them empathetic.
Mm-hmm. I know very little about reptiles of any kind, and prefer to keep it that way. I think there's a book on snakes around here somewhere, though.
Okay, thanks.
Bah, on l'a lu le livre sur les serpents hier.
Do you have messages for me?
I've given everything to you.
J'ai commencé Monsieur Robot. C'est bien cool. Monsieur Robot. Je connais pas. Mais Louis, est-ce que tu as regardé Halt and Catch Fire du coup?
Tell me,
What do you want to know?
how do you like working at St. George's Books?
Well, it's not exactly a huge intellectual challenge, although the math in your record books could confuse Einstein. Still, I love old books, and it's a nice way to pay the bills while I explore the city for a summer. If you ever pay me, that is.
On s'en fiche un peu, je crois.
Nothing, I guess. Never mind.
Ah, on va chatter.
So, what's new, Grace?
Your use of mathematics, for one thing. These books are unbelievable.
What can I say? I refuse to be bound by rules.
The strap marks on your bedpost speak otherwise.
Ah, j'ai vu la saison 2, c'est cool aussi. Hein. C'est plutôt très bien. Donc on va re-regarder le livre sur les serpents, et au bout d'un moment, je vais pas faire que ça. Le monde des serpents. C'est tout?
It's a book about the world.
Merci madame. J'avais pas compris. Bah très bien. Fenêtre.
The windows of St. George's Books overlook Bourbon Street.
Paillasson.
There could be a secret passage under the doormat, but we didn't have time.
C'est rigolo ça.
Leave my coat alone, Gabriel.
Grace's coat is a simple but classic trench coat. Gabriel hates people with good taste. The books on the table have... Gabriel can't see any...
Mmh.
The box has Gabriel's name.
I can go through the rest of that stuff some other time.
Today's newspaper...
Ah, c'est le journal du jour.
Times dated June 19th, 1993. A front page article describes the most recent of the voodoo murders. Gabriel scans it but learns nothing new. The article reiterates that the voodoo aspect of the crime is faked. Gabriel shivers. It looked real enough to him. Elsewhere, there's an article about the history of Jackson Square, called the Plaza d'Armes under French rule. It was used for executions, firing squads, hangings, even impalement and breaking on the wheel. Yikes! Of course, these days, it's mostly a hangout for tourists, street musicians, and local artists. Gabriel
Et les
also
connards de
scans
mime
the
aussi.
Aquarius horoscope for the day. Chances of a dark star rising on this day. Do not trust your instincts.
I feel a dark star rising, all right.
D'accord.
Times the article.
Oui, non, mais en fait... Oui, non, ça on sait déjà. Oui,
Gabriel,
madame. Merci, madame.
chance
Oui. D'accord. Ok.
tree snakes and
What a wacky off.
Mhm.
that doesn't seem to work that way.
Ah, on peut pas lui montrer les choses à la dame. Attends,
That doesn't work. Gabriel can't see a way to use that.
mais... oh.
That doesn't work.
Ah, donc les trucs pas importants, on peut les montrer.
Does this mean anything to you?
It's your friend Mosley. Why?
Oh, no reason.
Elle a l'air ravie.
I don't need to.
Mhm. Je vois pas pourquoi on aurait d'autres trucs à faire. Ah mais non, mais oui, mais d'accord. Non, mais oui. N'oubliez pas, aujourd'hui sont ouverts le musée et la pharmacie. Donc, on va pas trop passer trop de temps ici, j'imagine.
I'll be back later.
Have fun.
Ah, la piole, c'est le bordel. Hein. C'est un peu crado. Cette musique de Rocky, quoi. Oh la vache!
Hello. Huh?
Bonjour, Monsieur Walker.
Bienvenue, Madame Casanova. Comment ça va? How you be feeling today?
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Walker. I'm certain someone's buried a sleep not bag somewhere near my steps. I haven't slept a wink, not in weeks.
Now, don't that beat all? I'll need some easy night candles then, huh?
Do you think that would help? I do hope you're right. I said 3 rosaries this morning for Our Lady's intervention.
Rosary good, sure enough, but you burn them candles too, boy, you gonna whip any no-sleep gree-gree, I tell you for sure.
Very well, Mr. Walker. Put them on my account and send them around to my house. Oh, and there's another thing. I didn't catch her at it, but I know. Mrs. Lefebvre put stomachache powder in my tea at the last meeting of the Creole Grand Dame. I've been in misery.
Now you put
Ça, cette action est improbable, hein, quand
up
même.
in a little box. Add a pinch of graveyard dust. Put it up under her front post step. That'll turn the trick back on Miss Lefebvre, and she be the one with the bellyache. I got the pins of dust right here if you want them.
If the Blessed Virgin will grant me her protection, I'll be safe from these practitioners of evil.
Oui, madame. Though, don't hurt to be proactive neither now, does it?
Naturellement, monsieur. Merci beaucoup.
Mais non, madame. It's nothing. Au revoir.
Au revoir, Monsieur Walker.
Numéro. Ça y est, on peut jouer. Oh.
The poster advertises a voodoo play from last fall. It's a mannequin wearing a crocodile mask. The shelf holds containers of dried items, flowers, grasses, and black cat bones.
Des os de chat noir, carrément.
Brew bags, curio boxes, and magic candles. Sold as curios only. We cannot guarantee results.
Les colis fichés. Yo, Salzar. On va parler avec le monsieur, je pense, parce que sinon, voilà.
Hi there. Is this your store?
This the Dixieland drugstore. And I own it. Me. Name's Walker. Willie Walker.
Can you tell me what you know about voodoo?
This is a novelty shop, monsieur.
You think I'm stupid? This is a voodoo shop. Look at all this stuff.
These is novelties, curiosities. If people want to think they magic, it's not my concern, you know?
Are you telling me that you own a voodoo shop, but you know nothing about voodoo practices?
Ça n'est pas savoir blanc.
What does that mean?
It means you should mind your own business, monsieur.
Vache.
Look, I'm researching voodoo for a book.
I don't have your answers, me. You want to buy something, monsieur?
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Caprice encore.
What did you say?
Nothing. Them killings have nothing to do with my shop, monsieur.
Cabris encore.
What do you think of New Orleans?
I live here all my life, me.
What do you think of New Orleans?
If you're not from around here, monsieur, you should sign up for some tours.
Do you know anything about snakes?
What kind of snakes?
The kind they use in voodoo?
Pythons, boas. So I've heard.
Really? Do you have one?
Are you crazy? What would I want with a python?
What did you mean when you said Cabri Sanko?
I didn't say that.
You did. I heard you say it.
You heard wrong, monsieur. I said no such thing.
That customer of yours, the little old lady.
Customer?
The woman I saw in here, Madame Casino, you called her.
I don't talk about my customers to men who come in off the street.
It's important that I talk to Madame Casino. You see, I'm doing some research and...
I can't tell you anything about her.
Tell me about yourself.
My name's Willie Walker. I own the place.
How did you get into this kind of business?
Now, why should I discuss my business with you, man?
So, this is a voodoo store, huh?
Voodoo? No, man. This is a curio shop. Things you...
What about all these magic oils and powders you're selling? Aren't they
Read
a part
the
of
label,
voodoo?
man. We make no claims. Sold as curio only. It mean what it say, no? These are novelties, not voodoo.
Donc ça skip les sous-titres mais pas le dialogue. Très bien. Où est ma souris?
The sign says, Special St. John's Eve Lagnia. Free bottle of Lover Come Back to Me oil or Master Gambling oil with every purchase over $50.
Lagniappe. My French is lousy, but everyone in New Orleans knows what that means. A little something extra.
The sign...
Lagniappe.
Garlic, cloves, and other dried goods and spices are collected in the bowls.
I know where to come if I ever have a vampire problem.
Qu'est-ce qu'on rit?
Garlic, cloves...
I know where to come.
D'accord. Oui, je sais pas, il se téléport derrière son truc là.
It's nearly as old as the one at St. George's. The Dixieland drugstore has a rather terrifying way of dealing with shoplifters.
Voilà, venez dans notre magasin et Applis ne sera pas seul sur votre piste. Ça fout les jetons. Hi John. What is Hi John?
The entire shelf is stocked with containers of High John the Conqueror root powder.
Ah bon, d'accord.
Herbal oils for love, luck, power, and success.
D'accord.
Do know anything about snake scales?
I got some snake root and snake powder, but I order them wholesale. I don't handle snakes. I don't like them at all.
Bernard.
Does this mean anything to you?
I don't know anything about that at all.
Le mec, il a l'air méfiant quand même. Hein. Vache.
Do you recognize this pattern?
Don't look familiar at all, monsieur.
Allez, une petite photo crado.
Would you mind taking a look at this photograph?
Gabriel Knight.
Gabriel Knight? What does that mean?
Nothing, man. I didn't say nothing like that. You heard me wrong, man.
On va serrer la main au truc.
There's no room for it.
It must be the crocodile thing, but even I'm...
Ah bon d'accord. Bon bah on va y aller. Hein.
Welcome, my friend. Hello. I am the proprietor, Dr. John. If you have any questions, I would be happy to assist.
Great. My name is Knight, and I'll probably take you up on that. What does this do?
Turn that thing off.
Oh, sorry.
We have air conditioning, you see.
Yeah, I see.
A street drummer has settled outside the museum. Gabriel can't do anything with the drummer on the street. The voodoo shrine is filled with items that both fascinate Gabriel and also make his skin crawl.
This coffin is so small. A waste of some perfectly good wine, if you ask me.
Here's Vincent.
It wouldn't be much of a voodoo museum without a voodoo doll. They lend a certain psychotic ambiance, no?
A street drummer has settled out.
Quoi? Attendez. Tambour là, alors qu'il est là-bas le truc.
Will that look sacrilegious? Wonder who that poor bastard was.
A flyer advertising Magenta Moonbeam, a local voodooienne. Her parlor is on the corner of Orleans and Dauphine.
C'est Bro qui a gagné la race Meat Boy. Ah, j'ai cru avoir lu l'inverse aussi sur Twitter.
A leather whip hangs from a peg on the wall.
Oh, hurt me. Reminds me of a book critic for the New York Times.
That must be Marie Laveau.
Marie Laveau.
That must be Marie Laveau.
Marie Laveau, d'accord. Bien. Je regarde la bouffe, Marie Laveau.
Something about the shape of that knife gives Gabriel the creeps.
Yeah, right. I'd probably cut my own head off with that thing.
Gabriel doesn't want... An authentic-looking pole marks the center of the room. Authentic what? Gabriel isn't sure. An official voodoo wishing stump. Rub it and make a wish, a card says.
Funny, I say the same thing to women.
Très bien.
I wish Malia Getty were mine forever. Really, I mean it.
What was that?
Huh? Nothing.
A beaded gourd is on display. A very large, very formidable looking snake is secured in a plexiglass cage.
The python is quite dangerous. I would stay back if I were you.
Thanks for the advice.
The snake is...
Could I ask you a few questions?
That is why I am here.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Historical voodoo, or the voodoo currently practiced in the city.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The killings in the newspaper. I know they have nothing to do with true voodoo in New Orleans.
What makes you think the voodoo murders aren't being done by local practitioners?
Voodoo is a popular boogeyman, Mr. Knight, especially in New Orleans. Anyone can pretend to use it, just as anyone can pretend to be a black belt in karate. And for the same reason, to intimidate. I know voodoo in this city, Mr. Knight, and believe me, it is not about killing. Even the police have stated that the killings have nothing to do with local voodoo.
So you know nothing about the voodoo murders case?
I neither know nor care to know, Mr. Knight. My only possible interest is in how it might affect the public's attitude towards the museum. So far, it has not been an issue. No one has even had the bad taste to bring it up. Until you, that is.
What do you think of New Orleans?
It is the only city in the United States, as far as I am concerned.
What is it about New Orleans that you so admire?
It has a real culture of its own, Mr. Knight. Amid the horrid blandness that is Americana, New Orleans alone has a voice.
Spoken like a true New Orleanian. What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It is one of the important ceremonial nights in voodoo.
What else can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I am afraid I do not know the origins of St. John's Eve. I only know that it was a night of ritual long before voodoo came to New Orleans.
Do you know what Caprice and Call means?
I fear my French is not all it should be, Mr. Knight.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Ah, you have perhaps noticed the museum snake, Mr. Knight? They are beautiful creatures. Do you not agree? And the tourists seem to associate them with voodoo.
Is this snake yours? Do you use it in your practice of voodoo?
I admire the spirit of the snake, Mr. Knight. But snakes like the museums can be quite dangerous to handle.
You didn't really answer my question.
I think I did, Mr. Knight.
Tell me about historical voodoo.
Very well. I will start at the beginning, Mr. Knight, and will go on from there at your prompting.
Sounds good.
As you may know, voodoo is a grassroots religion, formed by the mixing together of many different African tribal religions and Anglo religions, such as Catholicism or Protestantism. In other words, it is a religion born of the African slave trade. But African slaves were imported not only by the United States, but also into the West Indies, where the French and Spanish ran plantation islands. Prior to 1803, The New Orleans area was owned by France. The French Creole in those days owned many African slaves. But the Creole did not permit their slaves to gather, giving no chance for voodoo to breed here natively. The Creole also knew enough about the corrupted pagan practices of the West Indies slaves to ban the importings of slaves from that region.
So, how did voodoo come to New Orleans?
After the Louisiana Purchase, American legislators relaxed regulations. Slaves were permitted to gather. The Americans also removed the ban on West Indies slaves. Around the same time, a slave revolt occurred in Santo Domingo, what is now Haiti. Between the lifting of the ban and the Haitian revolt, West Indies slaves began pouring into New Orleans. Some of them were free people of color, freed or escaped slaves. Some came with their white owners who were fleeing from the revolt.
What happened when the West Indies slaves got here?
They brought voodoo with them. The native slaves were more than enthusiastic about embracing it. It gave them power, Mr. Knight. If only in the form of a communal bond. Among the first meeting places were the Bayou St. John and the shore of Lake Pontchartrain. The early voodoos were heavy snake worshippers, worshipping the one they called the Great Zombie.
Tell me more about historical voodoo.
By 1817, the voodoo activities were beginning to cause fear among the white slave owners. An ordinance was passed to forbid slave gatherings except in designated public areas at designated times. The time was Sunday afternoons, and the place, Congo Square. The slaves and free people of color gathered to dance simulations of their voodoo dances, right in sight of Creole society. Of course, they also continued to meet in private for the real thing.
Tell me more about historical voodoo.
There were a variety of kings and queens at first, voodoo priests and priestesses. But from about 1830, a single power emerged. This was a voodoo queen named Marie Laveau. Marie Laveau ruled voodoo in New Orleans for many years.
Are you sure?
I've given you as much detail as I can.
Tell me about current voodoo.
Many people think of voodoo in terms of magic spells or Greek. That kind of practice is actually called hoodoo and is only a part of true voodoo. Voodoo, the religion, has a strong following in New Orleans. In fact, it is growing quite rapidly. There are several voodoo churches or temples in the city, and others all across the United States. African Americans see it as a tradition all their own. Whites, and there are many in the religion, are attracted to it because they think it is exotic. I personally am more interested in the history of voodoo. Some of the new movements are copying Haitian or even African voodoo. But it is the voodoo of New Orleans that I find so intriguing.
Mais la musique est jouée par des gens du jeu. C'est-à-dire, je ne comprends pas.
Tell me about Marie Laveau.
There were actually two Marie Laveaux, mother and daughter. Most people thought they were the same woman. Her continued youth added to the mystique. The original, the mother, was also known as Widow Paris. It was she that began the empire.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
The Laveau tomb, where one or both of the Maries are believed to be buried, is in St. Louis Cemetery No. 1. It is a popular shrine for practitioners and tourists alike. I myself take tours through the cemetery on a regular basis.
Really? Do you have any running this week?
No, but the cemetery is open to the general public as well.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
When the Widow Paris began to practice, there were many voodooians in the city. By 1830, she was voodoo queen of all New Orleans. The Widow Paris was a hairdresser for rich Creole ladies. She also paid household servants to spy for her. Between the two, she knew everything about everyone who mattered in New Orleans. She was not above using her information to appear psychic, to intimidate, or even to blackmail.
You sound as though you admire her.
For a black woman in the mid-1800s to gain power is an incredible thing, Mr. Knight. However she achieved it.
Tell me more.
She kept a pet snake, danced with it too. She held traditional voodoo ceremonies up. She took herself seriously, very seriously. But she was not above selling tickets for her events to curiosity seekers. She was not above using voodoo any way she could to make money. That is for certain. But if she had been in another line of work, in another age, that would have been interpreted as entrepreneurial genius, rather than a sign of fraudulence.
Hey, you don't need to convince me. I admire anyone that can actually make a living. Tell me more.
It was Marie Laveau who defined the voodoo that is truly and uniquely the voodoo. She invented hundreds, if not thousands of spells, potions, charms, and incantations. These form the basis of the modern practice, not to mention the folk tradition of hoodoo.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
Her daughter, Marie Glapion, took over when Widow Paris got old. Most people thought it was the same Marie Laveau. Both Maries encouraged that point of view. The Widow Paris died in 1881. Marie Glapion had been reigning a long time by then. After the death of the Widow Paris, other voodoo queens surfaced, and by 1890, the cult was fragmented again. Marie Glapion just sort of faded away.
Tell me more.
You have heard everything of...
What exactly is hoodoo?
Hoodoo refers to magic folk traditions of the South. Hoodoo is a bastard of voodoo. Many of the Gree are similar, but hoodoo does not have the religious aspects of voodoo.
So how is the museum business?
Those who truly seek to understand are few, Mr. Knight. But even one can be an audience.
Sounds about like my shop. So where do you pick up all this stuff?
Oh, here and there. We accept donations of any pertinent items.
Do you ever get any wackos in here?
You mean, besides yourself?
Yeah, besides me.
I do not care to make those kinds of judgments, Mr. Knight. All are welcome here.
You're a big guy, aren't you? You work out, play sports?
I do not play basketball, if that is what you want to know.
Who, me? No, you just look like such a natural athlete.
I do find ways of keeping fit, Mr. Knight. After all, our bodies are temples.
You sound like Grace. I should get the two of you together.
Is Grace your wife?
No, she just acts like it. Tell me about yourself.
Me?
Yes, if you don't mind.
What is it you wish to learn?
Why did you open a voodoo museum?
The subject has fascinated me all my life, and I wanted to help preserve the cultural heritage it represents. Then let her...
Do these marks look familiar?
They look like the scribbling of a child to me.
Okay, thanks.
Ah ouais. Sympa le gars.
Perhaps Gabriel should learn more about the scale before showing it to anyone.
Ok.
Does this mean anything to you?
I cannot say that it does.
Ok.
A flyer at
Could you look at this and tell me if you recognize anything about the ritual?
This is truly offensive. This is from one of those recent killings, is it not?
Well, actually...
But the police already know that this so-called voodoo ritual is fake. Voodoo is a respectable religion. This kind of thing has nothing to do with voodoo in the city.
Fine, let's say that's true. Are you sure there's nothing about the items in this photo?
There is nothing about this sickness that I would identify as voodoo. Nothing.
Thanks for looking, then.
A very large, very formidable-looking snake is secured in a plexiglass cage. That doesn't seem to work that way.
Goodbye, Dr. John.
Walk carefully out there, Mr. Knight.
A sign on the front door of Magenta's home reads, "Attuning with the spirit realm, back on June 22nd.
Ah bah oui, mais on est quel jour? Trop de gens qui streament. C'est pas ma faute. C'est pas ma faute. Wow, on peut jeter la brique contre le truc.
Gabriel likes the idea of leaving marks on the tomb, but at the moment, he's not sure what to say or how to say it. Odd-looking marks adorn the Laveau tomb wall. The wall doesn't work.
Comme ça, je peux pas parler avec.
Gabriel can't take the mark. The wall doesn't work.
D'accord.
I want a copy of these strange marks.
Qu'est-ce qui est plus important que Gabriel Knight 1 audio aussi? Je vous le demande. Mais le mec se barre. Reviens.
Gabriel can't put his sketch back on the wall. The wall doesn't... The marks are reddish in color and remind Gabriel of crosses. They look like they've been here a few days at least.
C'est bon, on a tout noté là? Il a tout fait.
Looking at the series of crosses, Gabriel can't help but think they have a pattern and meaning he is not comprehending.
Ah oui, Zinagoun, il y en a poupe. Bon, ça va, c'est des gens en qualité.
Food, trinkets, and more unsettling things have been left at Marie Laveau's tomb as offerings from believers.
Et du coup, on va les piquer.
No thanks.
Ah bon.
A plaque on the tomb reads, Laveau.
Mosley and I used to switch street signs, but this is really sick.
Pourquoi il y a des croix partout?
A plaque on the tomb reads, Laveau.
Le blablabla, oui.
The tomb is securely closed. New Orleans is famous for its above-ground tombs. The high water table prevents bodies from being interred underground.
Intéressant.
The tomb is This old tomb is in a sorry state of disrepair. There's probably no one left in the family to maintain it. A stone angel leans down to gaze at something unseen. Two enormous vases flank. Gabriel looks at and in the vases, but he doesn't see anything he wants to take. An angel draped dramatically over a stone plinth marks the entrance to a large tomb. The doors are heavy and shut tight. It's locked shut. The plate is in locked position. There's a keyhole on the plate, but Gabriel can't operate that without a key. The doors are heavy and the tomb door. Two heavy, solid marks.
Ah bah c'est pas moi qui le veux, c'est le jeu, hein, Louis. Ah bah il est là, lui. Sentinelle, il s'appelle. Vache.
Mind if I pick your brain a minute?
Go ahead. These folks ain't in no hurry.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
They say it was part of an old religion from Africa, brought here by slaves.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
I don't really care to talk about it. I don't do it none myself.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Isn't it just awful? Them finding those bodies with the voodoo things around them? I don't think there's any real voodoo going on. Somebody trying to cover their tracks is all.
What do you know?
I told you all I know
What can you
about
tell
that.
me about New Orleans?
Seem like everyone wants to visit New Orleans at least once in their lives. And they love the cemetery tours. I see tourists in here every day of the year.
What can you tell me about...
There lots of things to see here, but none as beautiful as St. Louis Cemetery number 1.
What can you...
If you want to know more, you should ask someone else.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? I see snakes around here all the time. Most of them aren't poisonous, of course. I don't mind snakes myself, but lots of folks are afraid of them.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I told you all I know about...
D'accord.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
Well, St. John the Baptist is the patron saint of voodoo. Sometimes we get weird goings-on in the cemetery on that night. More often on a few nights before. People taking grave dirt, bones, and who know what.
That's pretty disgusting.
Yep. Don't know what they do in them, but it can't be pretty. I told you all I know about that.
Do you have any idea what Caprice Saint Call means?
Nope, can't say.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Sure. She was the voodoo queen of New Orleans. A powerful voodooienne and a powerful sorceress. Believers still come to her tomb, you know. They write secret marks on the walls, leave offerings. Then there's the tourists.
They come out of curiosity. As a matter of fact, that big Dr. John fella from that voodoo museum, he's here at least once a day. But Marie Laveau's tomb isn't the only one the believers visit and make markings and leave offerings at.
You said there were other mock tombs?
Yep. I've seen bull hearts left on tombs and a nest of vulture feathers, fleets of peas and congreve, animal parts, human parts even, it looked like. Male parts, if you get my meaning. And this is one of the great family crypts, mind you. Odd how them types just pick a spot and stick to it.
Je crois qu'il a dit qu'il y a des gens qui laissaient des pénis sur les tombes. Voilà.
What else can you tell me about Marie Laveau?
Her tomb's on all our tours. Even the Baptists come round here to gawk. Of course, you may not know this, but some of the real serious voodoo types argue that she ain't in this one at all. Down in the unmarked tomb in number 3. It's all the same to me, I say. Saved me a lot of cleanup work if she weren't here, if you ask me.
Regardez.
Tell me about yourself.
My name is Toussaint Gervais. I'm the watchman here at St. Louis number 1.
What exactly do you do here?
Oh, I keep the place tidy, of course. A big part of my job, too, is looking out for the grievers. People come to pay their respects, and they need looking out for. Sometimes they so grief-bound, they don't know what they doing.
Tell me about yourself.
That's about all.
Tell me something about St. Louis Cemetery, number 1.
You know why the dead are buried in tombs and not in the ground, don't you? The water table's too high. Them coffins will float right out of their graves. Ha! Them dead will go floating right down into the Dakota. Of course, if it were Mardi Gras, nobody'd even notice. It's a historical place. People buried in here from the Civil War. Back further, too. Take a look around. You'll see.
Tell me something.
Just look around. You'll get the feel of the place.
What other tombs got marked? Can you show me?
No, I ain't one for naming names. I don't like to encourage that kind of thing. It's distressing to the families, and rightly so.
You been working here a long time?
Longer than you've been alive, son. I mayhaps be here longer than you'll be alive, for that matter.
Kind of a quiet job you've got, isn't it?
Most of the time, yeah. They act up some at the full moon, though.
You must enjoy the company of dead folks.
Unlike the living, they ain't never given no reason to dislike them none.
How's business today?
About like every day. It's what you call a seller's market.
Yo, KLC, Nixo. Et salut Landrine. Et ben voilà. On a parlé à copain.
The old man is apparently...
Ouais, d'accord. Mais on va quand même lui montrer des trucs.
Does this mean anything to you?
Sure, I see them marks all the time on the tombs. Don't know what they mean, though.
Does this mean anything to you?
Nope.
Nope.
It's a piece of brick.
Ah oui, merci.
Does this mean anything to you?
Nope.
Ah, lui, il a jamais rien vu. Hein.
Does this mean anything to you?
Nope.
Nope.
Does this mean anything to you?
Jesus, Mary and Joseph, son. Don't be showing that kind of thing to me. I'm an old man. I'm liable to just keel right over on you.
Sorry.
Ah, la vache. Nope. Musique de la police.
Got a second, officer?
What can I do you for?
I'm here to see Detective Mosley.
He's in his office. Go on back.
There's no reason to photocopy that.
C'est con, j'en aurais distribué à tout le monde.
The bulletin board is littered with everything from wanted posters to flyers.
Excuse me, officer?
Yes?
Oh, never mind.
Fine. I'll get back to work.
Je le vois d'ici les remarques sexistes et les trucs de gros beaufs qui arrivent, donc on va arrêter.
There's a temperature gauge on the wall near Mosley's office.
Allez, on fout la merde. On fout la merde dans le comico. Ah, ne pas toucher. Ah. C'est approprié, c'est la musique de la police.
Mostly, my man.
C'est vrai que c'était plus approprié en Allemagne.
You. God help me. Are you hot? Man, I'm hot.
Bon, on va lui parler.
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
What can you tell me about...
Bon, on refait le tour, hein,
There's
c'est parti.
voodoo that goes on in this city. Sure. I looked into it a bit at the beginning of this case. But the voodoo stuff found at the crime scenes is all fake. It doesn't have anything to do with the real stuff. I know. I asked some experts. It's intimidation tactics. That's all.
What else can you tell me about voodoo?
I told you, don't worry about that part of it. It's all faked.
What do you know about...
Lots? Can you be more specific?
Do you know anything about the killers?
At least 20 people attend the killings. We know this from the variety of footprints found at the scenes.
Footprints? Aren't those as good as fingerprints?
Can be, but we'd have to have a suspect in custody first. And the suspect would have to match one of the few distinct prints we have. Most of the footprints are smudged, trodden over, unreadable. These guys are so casual in their expertise, it's maddening. Like they know we'll never find them.
How many murders have there been so far?
7 murders have so far been linked to the Voodoo Murders case. The first murder occurred about 8 weeks ago. The MO is the same in each murder. Lake Pontchartrain was the 7th.
What kind of evidence have you found?
No fingerprints, a few bare footprints. Found a few fibers, but not many. The weirdest one was leopard fur.
Leopard fur. Describe the crime scenes.
Well, there's the corpse itself, minus the heart. Around where the body was killed, we find marks in flour and blood. There are traces of wax from candles, red and black. Ordinary wax candles, so the lab reports. Also blood and feathers of chickens, and goat's blood. And plenty of the victim's own, of course.
What's the coroner say?
The victim's heart is always ripped out of the chest and missing. We haven't located a single one of them.
Lovely. Any idea what they do with them?
Don't even want to know. Also, the coroner says some of the victims had heart attacks before the incision. literally scared to death. The knife wounds are consistent with a long, narrow, wavy-edged knife. Probably a ritualistic dagger.
Donc, un couteau long et ondulé. Comme celui du musée. Intéressant, n'est-ce pas?
Any witnesses?
Nope. There's never been a single witness. No one's even heard a disturbance. It's damned weird. Like they just don't want people to see. And so nobody sees nothing.
Know anything about the victims?
The victims are all out-of-towners. We still don't know why.
Oh, nothing. Never mind.
Sure, no problem. Okay, anything else?
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Is she that red-headed chick that works at Freddy's?
No.
Then I don't know her.
Très bien.
What can you tell me about Narlin?
You and me grew up here together. You tell me. It's a pretty nice place, even seeing the stuff I see, you know. The Carter's getting a bit too wild, though. Getting hard to control. Not quite what it was when you and me used to hang here, but hell, I've never known anything else.
C'est vrai que du coup, mon curseur ressemble aussi. Est-ce que ça serait pas moi le tueur depuis le début en fait? Ça serait formidable.
What can you tell me about Narlin?
Ah, I'm too sentimental to say anything else about it.
Do you know anything about snakes?
The only thing I know about snakes is that I don't like them.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
That's coming up, isn't it? We get some occasional weirdness in the quarter, but nothing much. Used to have a lot of strange things happen, though, or so I hear.
What else?
I don't know much except what I already told you.
Does the phrase caprice encore mean anything to you?
Hell no! Is that French? My mother spoke it, but I always had a hard enough time just speaking English.
True enough. Tell me about yourself.
For the book?
Sure, why not?
Okay. What do you want to know?
How do you like working on the police force?
Are you kidding? You know I love being a cop. And Narlands, it's the best place in the world to be one.
What are your plans for the future?
Well, you know, I don't like to count my chickens before they're hatched, but I don't see why I can't be the chief of police of Narlands someday. I already know the mayor, and my track record is one of the best in the department.
I'm sure it's just a matter of moments, mostly.
Yeah, you'll see.
Got any hobbies?
Yeah, making your life miserable.
I'm serious. Don't you shoot or chew or something like that?
No, I'm a freaking ballet dancer. Yeah, I was #1 at the Louisiana State Fair Marksman Contest. I play trumpet, too. You know, put your lips together and blow.
Formidable.
How's your home life?
Oh, real funny, Knight. Why don't you just bring in some freaking salt? You know Annie left me. My home life is shit.
Right. Sorry about that.
Du coup, j'ai dû parler dans le vide parce que le micro était éteint. Alors attendez. Oui, donc le résumé d'Io, il y a les meurtres vaudous, on enquête dessus, on est écrivain, comme dans le 2, sauf que c'est le 1 et que c'est pas en Allemagne, mais c'est en Nouvelle-Orléans, quoi. La VF, oui, la VF, oui, évidemment, mais hein, là, il n'y a pas. Le reroll, je m'en fous de qui il était, mais c'était pas de couilles au bout d'un moment. Je m'en fous à qui il était. Blablabla, blablabla. Ok.
just tell me anything at all.
Remember how we used to play monkey in the middle? Man, we used to piss off our senior year teacher. What was her name? Oh, Miss McKelly. You'd act like you were gonna toss her an eraser or something, and then you'd throw it to me over her head. And we used to do it at your grand's, too. Like with the remote when she wanted to watch her soaps.
Yep, and it was a great way to pick up women in the library. Ah, those were the days.
Yomoul.
Oh, nothing. Never mind.
Sure, no problem. Okay, anything else?
Un reroll, c'est en gros c'est un compte alternatif, quoi. Mais peu importe, moi j'aime bien qu'on fasse les comptes sur mon chat, mais pas qu'on se fasse 4 comptes et qu'on se parle tout seul, quoi. Parce que bon, au bout d'un moment, voilà, pas trop se foutre de ma gueule. Moi j'aime bien qu'on foute le bal sur mon chat, mais il y a des limites. Quoi? Allez.
How about getting me some coffee?
Coffee? You want coffee?
Should that surprise you?
Nah, you've always been a caffeine addict. It's just that what we got here hardly qualifies.
So I'm desperate.
It's your stomach. I'll get you some when we're done talking.
That long?
All right, I'll go now.
Ah, c'est-à-dire qu'on peut foutre le
Don't
bal
touch
dans son
anything
truc.
while I'm gone.
Ah non, comme le docteur Lébert, on touchera à rien. Ah, vous voyez ce beau truc shiny là?
There's no reason to go through the...
Comment ça?
There's no reason to go through the desk at the moment.
Comment ça?
Gabriel doesn't want to...
Here, drink it.
Thanks.
Non mais Hardy, peu importe, soit le tien ou celui d'un autre mec, je m'en fous. C'est ce que je dis depuis tout à l'heure, je m'en fous à qui c'était. C'est que s'il y a un mec qui veut venir foutre la merde sur mon chat, il vient avec son vrai compte, je veux pas de mec qui se cache, quoi.
Okay.
C'est ça qui m'emmerde.
Anything
C'est juste ça.
I got those photographs you left for me.
Really? Great. What'd you think?
Astonishingly lifelike.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You got any more ideas for photos?
Elles sont des. Il a dit textuellement, il a dit elles sont des points. Non mais reroll ou pas reroll, je m'en bats la race. Voilà, on peut parler d'autre chose maintenant, c'est bon.
A cop author photo might be nice.
You and me? Together?
Why not? Of course, you'll have to try to tone down your masculinity.
Well, okay. I'll call the police photographer. Franks, come in here a minute, would you? And bring your camera. I hate to put my coat on. It's so damn hot in here. But a picture's a picture.
What did you need, Detective Mosley?
We need a picture, please. And make it a good one, eh, sweetheart?
Sure, sweetheart.
Say chintzy.
Was there anything else, Knight?
Hold on a sec while I go check my hair.
Good God, Knight. Make it fast.
L'arme du crime.
There's nothing of him.
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Ça veut dire qu'on peut faire un truc en sortant. Okay. Donc pour l'instant, je sais pas.
Would you just get in here? up, would ya?
Okay, ready.
Thanks, hun. Let me know when you get them developed. The photos, that is.
Yeah, sure.
Anything else, Knight?
Question rigole.
How about one of me and Officer Franks?
Gee, I don't know. Franks? Just kidding, Franks. You want to get me fired for sexual harassment, Knight?
Well...
Yeah, ha. Now, is there anything else, or can I let this lady go back to her desk?
Nope, that's about it.
Great. Thanks, Franks. Hey, I made a rhyme.
You're astonishing, most
Vache.
Don't call me that in front of the lady, wise guy. Thank God I can take this thing off again. Damn, it's hot. Okay, anything else?
Do you know anything about the patterns around the bodies?
Yeah, weird, huh? All 7 victims had those marks around them. We've got all the marks on file, but we haven't figured out what, if anything, they mean.
Can I see the other 6 patterns?
Sure. People like that kind of stuff, don't they? Might make the book seem more mysterious. Go talk to Officer Franks. Tell her I said you could see the file.
Le truc c'est que le jeu a été écrit par une femme, donc du coup, je sais pas si c'est tiré d'expérience personnelle, mais ah oui, c'est quand même assez souvent des trous de balles les mecs. Hein.
What's the status on the Voodoo Murders case?
It's going. I can't seem to make any progress, though. Sluggish damn case. It's weird.
What's the status on the Voodoo Murders case?
I told you, it's going for shit.
So, how's it hanging, bud?
Lousy. I hate crime scenes. People are sick fucks, you know that, Knight?
I'm starting to get that impression.
On peut l'insulter.
Trying for a real estate job with that coat?
No? Are you trying out for a janitorial job with that hair?
Oh la vache.
I got those photos.
So you...
Nope.
Okay.
You been feeling okay?
Me? You know. I can't sleep at night. What with thinking about the case and thinking about
I
Annie.
can relate. Have you ever called the hair club for men?
I'd rather have no hair than your hair, Knight.
Ouais, grosse répartie entre les deux. Hein.
Whatever goes into those files never comes out. Mosley's caught.
Can I ask you,
You're the right...
Regardez bien ce qu'on va faire.
how about...
What am I, your slave? Yeah.
Ah, ces belles animations. Bah oui, il a des cheveux de serpillière, quoi. Enfin, ça se voit, hein. Allez vite, magne-toi le cul. Il a la WA5 sur la
I think
tête.
I'll just borrow this badge.
Waouh! T'es cramé, mon gars.
Hey, what are you doing with my coat?
Nothing. I thought I saw something crawling on it.
Just drink this.
Thanks, tons. I mean it.
Wanadu. Wanadu qui sponsor Project Zero. Regarde,
Okay.
est-ce qu'on peut passer à la
Anything
suite?
else?
So how do you find anything in this office?
Hey, I get my...
Bon, on a plein de choses à lui montrer.
copied those marks from the lake.
Really? Good for you.
Do you want to see my sketch?
No, we have our own.
Ah, bon ça il s'en bat la race.
I picked up this scale at Lake Pontchartrain.
Yeah? What makes you think it's related to the murders?
Well, it was at the crime scene.
Sure. Must be the only snake in Louisiana, all right. That voodoo snake. Christ.
Ok, il y croit 0. Hein.
That doesn't work that way.
Ah bon.
That doesn't... Gabriel can't... That doesn't seem...
D'accord, bah on va se casser. Hein.
Well, I'll be seeing you.
Have a good one.
Donc c'est qui il faut demander? C'est Frick ou Frank s'il faut demander les papiers? No make sense.
Excuse me, officer.
Yes?
Ah voilà.
Can you get a file for me?
What file would that be?
The Voodoo Murders file. Detective Mosley said I could see it.
Really? Well, if you said so. There it is. You can look at it all you want, but don't leave this area with it, okay? And no photocopies either, I'm afraid.
Of course. I understand completely.
Gabriel decides to give Mosley a break and not change the temperature again.
Ah bon, c'est-à-dire que la température c'est ok. C'est vrai qu'un petit coup de brique dans la face, ça aurait pu être cool.
Gabriel opens and reads the police file.
C'est tout ce qu'il y a dedans?
It's the official police file containing the folder is marked with the warning. Gabriel opens and reads.
Alors évidemment, on a dit pas de photocopie.
I told you, you can't photocopy official police files.
Right, sorry. I forgot.
Ah, le jeu X-Files. J'y ai pas joué moi-même, mais oui. Il paraît que c'était plutôt pas mal. Comme je suis pas vraiment fan de la série, j'hésite à y jouer. Mais pourquoi pas. Ah, mais voilà comment qu'on va faire. Oh la vache.
Don't leave the room with that file, please.
De quoi? On peut pas refaire de photos. Bon, allez bien ce qu'on va faire.
I'm done.
Yeah, thanks.
Regardez bien.
Hey, hey, hey.
Knight, come on. Are you hot?
Can I ask you?
You're the right. What for? Rip. Franks, come back in here with that camera. I hate to put my coat on. It's so damn hot in here. But a picture's a picture.
Now what, sir?
This clown wants another picture. You don't mind, do you?
Of course not. What else could I possibly have to do? Ready? Smile.
Anything else, Knight?
Hold on a sec while I go check
Voilà.
my hair.
Good God, Knight.
Tester les points techniques de cocktail. Alors j'ai dû en faire, hein, parce que cocktail ça me dit quelque chose. Enfin, je sais que j'ai déjà joué à des jeux cocktail, mais Mais c'est pas ceux qui faisaient les, les Hadibou et tout ça aussi. C'est peut-être pour ça en fait. Mais des point and click cocktail, j'ai dû en faire, mais là comme ça, je pourrais pas te dire.
Just wanna check this machine here.
Ah, et Woodruff, j'ai joué un petit peu, mais je l'ai pas fini.
Would you just get in here? Hurry up, would ya?
Goblins, c'est pareil, on m'avait conseillé, mais j'ai pas encore essayé.
Okay, ready.
Thanks, hon. Let me know when you get them developed. The photos, that is.
Yeah, sure.
Anything else, Knight?
Nope, that's about it.
Good. See you, Franks.
Uh-huh.
Thank God I can take this thing off.
Ah, mais j'ai pas remis le dossier sur le bureau. J'ai pas remis le dossier sur le bureau. Est-ce que je vais être cramé?
I'll let you get back to it.
It's too late to return the file.
Ah bon? Bon, on se casse alors. Mais j'ai fait une photocopie, mais... Bon. Bah, j'espère que j'aurai pas à recommencer tout le truc à cause de ça. Qu'est-ce qu'on a en dehors du... Le manoir... Le manoir...
A sign on the front door of Magenta's home reads, Attuning with the Spirit Realm, back on June 22nd. The Garden District is famous for its elaborate old plantation homes and mansions. This particular mansion is impeccably groomed.
May I help you? I'd like to see Malia Getty, please.
I'm sorry, but unless you have an appointment or official business, I cannot announce you.
I'd really like to see Malia Getty.
I told you that unless you have official business with Ms. Getty, I cannot let you in.
Je vais lui montrer mon badge de flic.
I do have official business.
Really? Please tell me the nature of your business.
Please let me in.
No. Go away before I call the police.
Mais je suis la police.
May I help
help you?
Ah, il a jobé qui je suis.
My name is Detective Mosley. I'm here on police business.
Really? How interesting. Wait here. I'll inform Miss Getty. Miss Getty will see you. Right this way.
Yo, pas man.
Miss Getty will be down shortly.
Voilà, belle bête.
Thank you.
Enfin, déjà, on a buté un lion, on l'a dépecé et après on lui marche dessus, quoi. C'est quand même moyen cool, hein.
What can I do for you, detective?
Évidemment que je lui ai volé son badge. Ah, est-ce qu'on a une remarque de gros beauf?
Undoubtedly proof that there is a God.
D'accord.
Mind if I ask you a few questions, Miss Getty?
I assume that's what you're here for, detective.
C'est reparti pour une demi-heure de dialogue.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? Why would you want to know about that, detective? It's rather silly, isn't it?
There's nothing silly about the voodoo murders.
But that voodoo is faked. That's what I've read in the papers.
That's what the papers say, all right.
But you're not convinced.
No, frankly, I'm not. The police department isn't known for its imagination.
Oh? Well, I can see that your imagination is considerable.
Are you sure you can't tell me anything about voodoo?
I really don't know much about it. Isn't there some place in town that you can find out about that sort of thing? A museum or something?
I believe there is a museum.
Then maybe you should check there.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The murders? Only what I read in the papers.
And what do you read in the papers?
I'm sure you know much more about it than I, detective.
Tell me about your life in New Orleans.
The Getty family came to New Orleans in 1800. We worked very hard to get where we are. On the other hand, we've done a lot for this community.
I can believe that. You're doing a lot for me right now. Tell me more about New Orleans.
I'm afraid I don't get out into New Orleans society much. Because of the Getty money, we have slots in the best country clubs and on the best Mardi Gras courts. But I must admit I hate it. I avoid actually making an appearance unless it becomes absolutely necessary.
I know about those courts. They're very exclusive.
Yes, especially when it comes to people of my race. That's why we don't turn down the appointments. It's a rare opportunity to rub their noses in it. But that's not where I spend my time. I have more important things to do with my life.
That's admirable. Many women would love the chance to get caught up in that kind of life.
I'm not any kind of woman you might be familiar with.
Yes, I can see that. Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm no expert. I don't fear them like most people do.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I believe it's some sort of local holiday, but I don't know much about it.
What do you know about Marie Laveau?
I've heard of her, of course, but that's about it.
Do you have any idea what Cabri Saint-Caux means?
No, I don't. What does it mean, detective?
That's confidential information, ma'am. Tell me about yourself.
I suppose I don't really have a choice. What do you want to know, detective?
What kind of things interest you?
I don't have a lot of free time, but I do appreciate the arts. Opera, symphony, ballet, fine art. If you look around, you'll see that we collect African art, for example.
Yes, it's very beautiful.
It is, Detective. It means a great deal to me.
Do you have a career?
A career? Being the head of the Getty family is a 24-hour-a-day job. We have many holdings and many responsibilities, financial and otherwise. The management of our business affairs and properties leaves me with time for little else.
Poor little rich girl?
Believe it or not, Detective, wealth does have its price.
Tell me about your family.
The Gettys? We're a very private family.
How many people are there in your family?
Well, my mother just passed away.
Oh, I am sorry.
So am I. She was a magnificent woman. We were very close. I was an only child.
And your father?
I never knew him.
It's hard to believe that any man would leave a woman like you. Or like your mother must have been.
He did not leave, Detective. But that's really none of your concern.
I'm sorry. Go on.
There are, of course, other Gettys in the city. I have a large extended family.
I see. Do you have a husband, boyfriend?
I'm very independent, Detective. The women in my family have always preferred it that way.
So you've never been married?
No, and I never will be.
What about children?
Yes, that is likely. Someday.
I'd like to hear just about anything.
I have a business degree from Vanderbilt. I wanted to study psychology, but my family's interests came first.
Oh? Why not something like law, then? Surely that would have been an asset to the family.
Law? Please. I do have some morals, Detective.
Oh. Can you tell me anything about what happened out at the lake?
I wish I could, but I've never seen or heard anything unusual at the lake, and I do spend quite a bit of time out there.
Alors ça, c'est en jaune, c'est une action capitale, hein, apparemment.
Excuse me, but your eyes are really distracting. I don't think I've ever seen a color quite like that brownish gold. It's so deep and rich. Man, if I could bottle that, I'd make a fortune.
Thank you, Detective. That's an interesting observation, though probably not relevant to your case.
Effectivement.
A good detective never knows what might be relevant, Miss Getty.
Then you must be truly exceptional at your job.
Ce balancement de réplique, non, mais on va pas recommencer. Vraiment. Ah, c'est gênant. C'est gênant.
I can't help noticing that you're in it.
Well, Detective, I do enjoy physical
Oh, me
activity.
too.
Actually, I was referring to swimming and modern
Quel
dance.
blaireau, quoi.
I can't say that I do much exercising at the lake, though.
Ah, well, it was worth asking.
C'est bon, on peut arrêter
I
maintenant?
think this
Ah?
has gone on long enough. You're not really a detective.
Ah mais il fallait, hein.
Who, me? Well, I am on this case, Miss Getty.
I saw you at the lake yesterday. I thought you must be with the police since you were there, but you don't act like a police officer. Besides, I'm rather certain that the other man said his name was Mosley.
All right, you caught me. I'm not with the police. My name is Gabriel Knight. I'm a writer working with Detective Mosley on a book.
Well, Mr. Knight, now that we've established who you are, perhaps you can tell me the real reason you're here.
Well, I am researching the book, and I thought you might have seen or heard something at the lake.
I don't like liars, Mr. Knight.
Okay, you're right. I really just wanted to see you again. You can be mad at me if you want, but I swear I've never done anything like this before.
Mr. Knight, you've lied about your identity and wasted my time with meaningless questions. If it weren't vaguely flattering, I'd really be angry. You're lucky I don't call the real police. I think you should go, Mr. Knight.
Malia, wait. If you just give me a chance.
I've wasted enough time. I'll have Robert show you out. Robert? Show Mr. Knight out, please.
I most certainly will.
Thank you very much. I had a lovely time.
Alors,
Shit.
Svensson, j'ai fait un peu... Ah non, je l'ai fini. Projet 01, je sais plus. Enfin, en tout cas, je suis allé assez loin, mais je pourrais pas te dire parce que... T'en vas pas trop loin. Alors, pour l'instant...
The sign says the Overlook's closed for repairs until June 21st. Hello, Dr. John.
Glad you could return to us, Mr. Knight.
Could I ask you some more questions?
Of course. I also find our dialogue stimulating.
Tell me
What more?
do you know Malia Getty?
Should I?
She referred me to your museum.
Many have read about our museum in the newspapers, Mr. Knight.
That's a good point. What kind of back...
Let us just say I cut my teeth on it, Mr. Knight. It is in my blood.
Do you do anything besides run the museum?
No, the museum does not make me a rich man. But my material needs are simple. I prefer to focus on my one true interest in life.
D'accord.
What are your own religious beliefs?
My beliefs are too personal and too complex to discuss with a layman, Mr. Knight.
Just tell me anything.
I am originally from the West Indies myself, you know.
Really? What brought you to New Orleans?
I was drawn here for personal reasons.
Just tell me.
I am a
Really?
vegetarian.
I can't imagine.
That must be the hunter in you,
Actually,
Mr.
I
Knight.
can't think of a...
Then let...
Ouais, c'est le bordel.
So what do you think of our summer weather? Have you ever seen it so overcast or so muggy?
It is unpleasant. The heavens are not pleased these days.
Ah mais Svensson, si tu joues sur émulateur et si tu joues à Project 01, c'est très chiant de le paramétrer pour qu'il fonctionne correctement. Il y a des gros soucis au niveau de justement de l'activation du réticule pour prendre les trucs en photo. C'est un peu le bordel. Il faut que tu ailles voir dans les paramètres, voir comment on peut paramétrer ça comme il faut. Donc voilà. Et Yoruxos.
Do these symbols mean anything to you?
No, they look like nonsense to me. Where did you get them, if I might inquire?
I saw them scribbled somewhere. Just graffiti, I guess.
I see. By the way, I forgot to warn you, Mr. Knight. The local cemeteries are quite dangerous. Muggers, vandals. I would avoid going there alone if I were you.
Really? Thanks for the advice. Does this mean anything to you?
I cannot say that it does.
Given demand side.
Ah, ça c'est pour la bagarre quand on est avec les gens, très bien. Ciao Svensson, à plus. Je vois pas ce que je pourrais faire d'autre. On va lui montrer la brique. On va lui donner un coup de brique.
Does this mean anything to you?
I cannot say that it does.
D'accord.
I'll be going.
Come back.
Hi.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to smell those if I opened.
Okay.
Do you recognize this pattern?
Don't look familiar at all, monsieur.
Do you recognize this pattern?
Don't look familiar.
Do you know anything about these crosses? I think there's some kind of code.
Look like a lot of hand tracks to me, man.
Ouais, quand même.
Does this mean anything to you?
I don't know anything.
Mind if I ask you a few?
Ask what you want.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It's the biggest night of the year in voodoo.
What goes on exactly?
I couldn't say.
What do you know about Marie Laveau?
Marie, she's somebody from the old days. One of them old folk tales. The tourists eat it up, no?
What else do you...
I don't know much, monsieur. Someone at the Voodoo Museum can tell you all about her.
So, do you get many tourists in here?
We, all the time. They want to buy a bottle of money-drawn oil or wang a bag to take home with them.
Ok.
I knew you'd miss me, so I came back.
Really? I forgot you were gone.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Could you do some research for me?
Sure, what?
I need you to look up a Madame Casino.
Madame Casino? Is she related to the murders the same way your friend Molly Aghetti was?
Grace, Casino's at least 70.
As if that makes a difference to you. Okay, I'll see what I can find. Anything else?
I can't think of anything. What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve? Never heard of it. Must be a local custom. New Orleanians love to party.
Do you have any idea what Cabri Saint-Caux means?
No. Sounds French, though.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Wasn't she a big voodoo queen before the Civil War?
That's right.
Well, you've just heard everything I know about her.
Do you have messages for me?
Nope, none right now.
Do you?
Ah.
Tell me.
Mais non, ça on s'en fiche.
No. Done anything interesting lately?
By your definition? No. I prefer it that way.
That doesn't work.
Coup de break.
That doesn't seem...
Pas de coup de break.
Gabriel can't see a way to use.
Quoi?
That doesn't...
Oh, d'accord.
Like my badge?
Where did you get that?
Mosley let me borrow it.
Gabriel, you're such a shit. I'm gonna call him up right now and tell him you have that.
No, I might need it. I'll give it back to him later.
Well, I hope he throws you in jail when you do.
Gabriel can't see a way.
En fait, tu n'avais pas appelé sa mamie normalement?
That doesn't work.
Je vais appeler ma mamie. On va essayer d'appeler sa mamie. Ah mais j'ai pas le numéro de ma mamie moi. Oh non, qu'est-ce qu'il fait?
The sign says...
Someone is in that the Chancellor of St. Louis.
Oh, hey! Oh, come back here. Hey! Oh, unbelievable. Rotten luck.
Those drawing tools are amazing.
Yeah, they're great for laying lines, angles, circles, you know, anything geometric. It's pretty meticulous, but I prefer it to freehand.
Can you draw anything with those tools?
They're great for ordered, complex forms and patterns, but they won't help me do Monet.
How's it going?
Life sucks. I just lost 2 days worth of work.
What are you working on now?
Just starting another drawing of the cathedral.
On a toujours nos copains qui jouent du banjo et du truc là.
Gabriel can't reach the drawing from where he is.